And we're back, of course. It's a really warm day, so it's normal that the phone's gonna overeat. Sorry about that. Overeat, not overeat, which is hum hum hum, or even Uber Eat, which is the services. So, we were talking about Gambino. Don't worry, we've got an ice pack that is super cool. It's going down the phone. Do I think that Gambino was a good guy? Um, I feel like if Guts would have been older and Shisui didn't die, Guts would have been good because she Guts Gambino thought that Guts was the reason why she killed him, like, because of the bad luck. So he took it out on him, and he started drinking when Shisui is done. Ultimately, the event raping Guts was because Gambino was so drunk that he didn't care. That's not true because Gambino's like, yeah, I sold you for 3 silver, which is kind of bullshit, right? So was Gambino a good guy? I think he would. After a while, Guts would have been like, "Yo, I'm stronger than you, old man." And this one is too hot now. I'm telling you, this is it's bad, bro. It's bad. Bad, Mr. Kitty. Psh, psh, psh. I swear to God, I got so much to do every single fucking day, but it's all good. It's all good. In here we're good, so the rest is okay. So, yeah. So what I'm trying to say with that is Griffith is possibly, and again, for Gus to trust Griffith like he does, this is insane. So the next thing we got is Griffith and Casca is telling her like, hey, you need to say hi to him. Basically, she warmed him up, right? This is super cool because Casca right away he recognized her, takes to the eyes, and she punched him. Bunch of Vinasol. Technically speaking, Casca is possibly one of the first women that Guts see. And Guts, even reality, is kind of crazy because Gambino gets hurt and gets his leg chopped up, right? And Guts come back from a fight and say, hey, I killed the biggest like wanted poster on here. We have enough money for beer and women. So he knows that Gambino needs money for prostitutes. And he's okay with it, right? So his perception of relationship is kind of weird. I wish you died after Griffith was true with you. So everybody hates him, right? And this is super cool because this guy, which is Judo is possibly one of the most, if not the most, like Awk band member. So technically speaking, Casca is the most liked. Casca is complex because of she didn't suffer a trauma, which means that she won't be able to talk. She won't be able to do anything that is purposeful to the story, right? Well, where I am, she's not able to. Guts will leave the band of the Awk, and Griffiths, you know what happened, he turns out to be a demon. So Judo is possibly one of the nicest guy. And Judo is kind of cool because Judo is told to be like a second son of Noble, right? And it sucks. It sucks because he's like, okay, well, he tells Guts, and this is kind of the first like kind person to Guts. She punched him. It's like you have to forgive her. She gave up on being a woman for being a mercenary. She's stronger than most of the people here, but she had to warm you up, you know. That's why she pissed off, right? But Judo is actually super cool, and this is kind of cool because the band of Awk. This is what I love about the band of Awk. A lot of people like the band of Awk. I have a mixed feeling about the band of Awk, but this is so cool. So the band of Arkan himself is filled with amazing people and kind of shitty people, right? So Griffith is being told that Guts woke up, and this is super cool. He presents himself, I'm Griffith, and he gives a weapon. And when he says a weapon, it says it's an amazing. This is really cool. The amazing one is an amazing sword, but he can never wield it. Now this in itself is so freaking cool for 3 reasons. The first reason is Guts wearing that sword is distinguishing himself on the field. Nobody would use the same sword as Guts does, right? First of all. Second of all, Guts, Griffith says this sword is amazing. And in reality, Griffith has a rapier. Now, a rapier as a weapon isn't the greatest. It's absolutely shitty. You have to fancy, it has to be okay. However, because Griffith is so talented with it, because Griffith is so strong with it, it doesn't matter how bad of a weapon it is. He makes it a weapon, a good weapon. It's like having a crossbow, but you don't know how to aim. So Griffith is here. So sees the sword and it's like, yeah, this is amazing. And third of all, he says this, and this is again a testament. So the third and second reason are exactly they're exactly the same. So Guts, he says a weapon. He says, okay, well, this is a very unique weapon, and nobody else will wield it, which is a shame because it's a beautiful weapon. But then it's also a testament of Guts' strength. Like you're wearing a weapon that nobody else could wear, and that makes you kind of unique. And not only that, but you're strong. So this is kind of cool. And at the same time, you would look at let's say, right, you would look at a sphere. A sphere is possibly one of the easiest weapon to use, and everybody can possibly use it. A sword, there's good swordsmen, like great swordsmen, but most of all, it's just slash and swing and slash, right? Griffith and himself and Guts are the only two people that are in the band of Arc who are using different weapons. You're gonna have Judo, which also have a lot of throwing knife, which is kind of cool. Why? Because in the Black Swordman, we saw Guts use a lot of throwing knife. This is cool. So Griffith is asking Guts to come with him, and this is super weird because only two people react. So only two people react, and they're like, okay, well, Casca, because she's in love with Griffith, and they're the guy that hates Guts. One of the guy, and at the same time, this guy is a total asshole. He's possibly the least liked characters of the Ben of Arc. However, I believe that he's somehow right. Guts just killed two of his friends, and Griffith's like, no problem, it happens. So we have another one, and this guy is super important, and it's Ricket. This guy is Ricket. Why is going to be important? So Griffith will basically say to Guts, I want you to recruit you. Right? And everybody's like, hey, we don't like him. We do not like him. He's the enemy. He killed some of our guys, right? And Guts will be a really strong fighter. And Guts, by being reckless, he will save a lot of people that Ben of Arc, right? And one of the people that he saved is Ricket. And Ricket's like, yo, I owe you my life. Thank you so much. And even here, this is so freaking nice. So freaking nice. So you got the guy who hates Guts, right? And he's like, yo, what the heck is Griffith thinking, right? And the other guy's like, you know what? He's strong. He could save a lot of people, and he could do. This is the only guy that trusts enough Griffith to say, okay, well, I trust what he's doing, but I wanna know why. And there you go. He's right. He's absolutely right. And people are hating him for acknowledging that acknowledging. This is so good. This is so fucking good. You want to acknowledging. And besides, this guy Ricket is one of my favorite characters because, first of all, when Griffith tried to recruit Gus, Ricket is one of the first ones to say, you know what, he would be a good ally. And here, you tell him, why do we hate him? He cuts Harold's hand off and he killed one of us. And Ricket, what he says in his head, he doesn't say it out loud because he's a kid. What he says, you started the fight. You started it. Which is amazing because they did. Right? Then we have Pippin. Pippin in itself isn't a good character because he's just a brute. It'll be one of the first fan of Guts. Pippin respects strength a lot. However, Pippin's main thing is he is kind of like a titan. He is in a raw strength. He is the strongest of the Ben of Arc. So take away Casca, take away Griffith, take away Guts, it would be the strongest. So there's going to be an event called the Eclipse where, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but a lot of people dies. And the fact that Pippin die is, holy shit, they killed Pippin. How did they do that? There's no possible. We don't have a chance. So this is super cool. So he goes in, and Guts is not dumb. Everybody's looking at him like he's a fucking devil. Because he did kill one of them, right? And then they say, and ultimately what is really cool here, it's mentioned before, after, like, Griffith is really respected by his men, and they would do anything for him, right? So as long as he's vouching for Guts, who cares if people like him, hate him? But for now, people hate him. So they're like, and Griffith's like, okay, well, the Ben of Arc. And this is cool because the Ben of Arc already have a notoriety. Now, this is super, 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 super important because when Guts join, see, this is also ambiguous. So the Ben of the Arcs are they're notorious, but they're not the most known Ben of mercenary. Now, a lot of people, myself included, think that Griffith is smart enough to say, okay, well, we're not ready. We're not ready to do battles. Like, for example, with Gambino. Gambino was an asshole. Gambino, when he lost his leg, Gambino was responsible for it because he went into a battle that he couldn't win. It's like, oh, holy shit, we can't win. That's how he lost his leg. Griffith is a bit more generous. He's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna have all my men killed. So if I don't think I can win, I'm not gonna do it. So by Guts joining, this is when, and it's kind of crazy because he gets Gus to join, and the first thing he said is that things are about to get interesting, which is possibly a result of Gus joining the Band of Orc, right? So you got a legend of the Band of Orc, how strong they are, and this is super cool because Griffith presents himself as the Band of Orc, and that's Guts that says, okay, well, I know of them, I heard of them, right? And it's kind of crazy because he's like, they're also young, they're super strong. So the Band of Orc also is complex because the Band of Orc is an amazing band of mercenaries. They're really, really strong. However, it is said that they're not okay. So this is kind of complex because the Band of Orc kind of have good members. They have Pippin, they have Judo, they have Pricket's not strong. I'm gonna be honest. They have Guts and they have Casca, right? In itself, they're not that strong. The reason why they're so strong is because Griffith is going to be the one to lead them. For example, they're going to do something. They're going to go through a river. They're going to go with very strong wind, which is basically using most of their forces before the fight begins. But because the competition are so poor, nobody was going to expect a back raid, which is they do, and they win, right? And it's amazing. So basically, he's talking, and this is super cool because Griffith, the first thing he says is, what of you? Griffith also here is not my favorite character here. He's pretty much of an asshole here. He acts as if nothing happened. He acts as if he's not the leader. He acts as if, like, hey, we're all good. He goes here, he just lost one member. He has Guts, which is, again, super strong. Guts now have his sword, so if Guts wanted, you could say to everybody, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you all, right? And instead of Griffith's like, just, hey, what of you? Now, Griffith is also armed, so in case he would be there, right? We got Casca also, and this is super cool because Casca follows, but she's not being told to follow, so she keep her distance. She's like, hey, if shit pops off, I'm ready. So Gus, like, why didn't you kill me? I killed one of your guys. He said, because I want you. And this is super, 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 super funny. Super funny. Because this is super funny because Griffin itself see Guts as a pawn. And this is, again, what I'm trying to say. Griffith sees himself as a king amongst pawn. You see possibly Guts as a rook or as a tower or even as a knight. He's stronger than a pawn, but he's not a king, right? And this is super funny because he says, I want you. And this is really funny because back then, and again, this is the only interest of this, right? When you look at the anime, they don't talk about that. He basically asks Griffith, are you an Omo? Which is super fucking funny because he says he thinks that Griffith is in love with him. Now, ultimately speaking, it's the sexuality of Griffith has always been questioned. Some people say that he was homosexual, right? Because even then, I'll sleep with nobles for money. I'll sleep with noble because he has like a very femboy body, if you will. So yeah, so he's there's a possibility that he's homo. Now, instead of saying no, he doesn't answer, which possibly means that he is. Do I care? No, but I just think it's interesting. So Griffith's like, the reason why I want you is because I saw your fight against this other guy, and this is super fucking funny. This is super fucking funny, but also so fucking good. So you see that he said that you guys remember the fight with the guy who killed 30 people with one swing? Griffith saw the fight, and he was like, you know what? You fought good. It was amazing. I don't know how you pulled it off, but you killed him. And it was a really good fight, but it was dangerous. So in this case, it's super interesting because Griffith says, hey, I want you to be part of my army. First of all, but I also have advice, and I can also teach you. Now, for example, he said, listen, so when you look back at the fight, he's right. So Guts was lucky to parry one of the strikes, and he cracked the axe. So the axe being cracked, when he hits the helmet, the axe broke. If the axe didn't broke, he would have died. So Griffith's like, yo, I saw you fight, but I also saw where you could have died, which is kind of crazy because Guts realized like, holy shit, I still have a lot to learn. And this is super cool because the way Griffith is convincing him, and this is super nice because Griffith realized that Guts is, but you still have to convince Guts to join. And he does it play by play, like, hey, you saw this, you saw this, you saw this, which is really good. And it's like, he says, if you constantly fight like that, you'll die. Why are you gambling your life away? There you go. He says, every single fight that you have, I bet you that you're struggling to make it out alive. And then you think back at the other fight that he had with the wolf and how he was there. The last fight that we really saw before the Basel was, and again, this is, you need to do that, was him escaping from the camp, and he basically didn't make, well, he barely made it out alive, you know? So Griffith's like, this is super cool. And this is, so what I want to say is, again, you're very restricted because you're drawing. So you're drawing the emotions. So he gives her a smile, and Guts is like, what the fuck is up with that guy, right? He looks like a child. He looks like a child, and this is super cool because Guts will be part of the Ben of the Ark. Then he'll ask somebody, hey, why do you care about him so much? And it's like, Griffith is weird. Just when you think he's too young, he shows up with an amazing plan. When you think he's too strict, he comes up with a smile. When you think that he saw too much, he reassures you. You know? So Griffith, and everybody agrees, Griffith is amazing. There's gonna be a scene, and this is true, okay? So it's kind of complex because in the world of Berserk, right, demons but also angel exist. Like there's angel, right? So Griffith seems to be like one of the chosen one, right? Which is what he was saying. So there's literally a scene where he talks to Guts, and there's Dove coming around, and there's Dove not all around him, but in the vicinity of Griffith. And it's the only time that we see Dove. So that's kind of insane. So he's Guts is like, fuck no, right? And he's like, you know what? If you can, you know, we never even met. Guts is like, you don't know me. Fuck, you don't know me. And this is super cool. Look. You stabbed me, and now you're all buddy. You're the one who attacked me. You're the ones, and with the ones with the S would mean is banned. I got no intention of just forgetting that, and I killed one of your men, so I'm not about to tell you to forget that either. See, Guts is like, yo, we're not allies. You're not allies. You attacked me, but I also killed one of your men. We're not gonna be cool. We're not gonna be cool. And ultimately speaking, you realize that Guts is right because Guts is. It's very complex. Guts is right because Guts did. There's some bad history there, but also Griffith is right because yes, killing a guy is horrible. But ultimately speaking, Guts joining the Ben of the Ark is something that really is going to help the group out. So then they're fighting. So the Guts draws enemies, right? And they make a bet, right? And it's kind of cool. Guts makes a bet. It's like, yo, if I win, I kill you, and if you win, he tells him, I'm gonna be your fag boy, which is kind of super crazy because you still think that Griffith is in love with him. And here is kind of important. You see the fight because the air is supposed to be majestic. The way they're drawn, the airs are supposed to be majestic. By the way, finished playing Elden Ring not too long ago, like a month ago, and Michaela is supposed to be out of Griffith. So they're fighting, and right away, this is such a good fight. And there's a really cool scene where Pippin is the first one to notice that there's a fight, which means that he's a good soldier because somebody else noticed, right? So they fight, and this is a close match. So they're trading a couple of blows. Griffith has he has the advantage, right? However, and Guts, this is super cool. Guts smiles and said this guy is good because Guts wants to fight, right? This is insane. This is insane because Griffith totally get them, and Griffith is having the advantage. He's a better fighter, right? You got people that wanted to kill Guts, like, this is the time we have to protect Griffith, and Gut's like, no. Griffith is the one that asked you guys not to interfere, and if you interfere, you're gonna be pissed. This is a direct order, right? And the only reason Guts has an advantage is Griffith puts his sword and Guts is sticking his teeth and dropping the sword, and then it's a really cool move because Guts goes in and push something. Griffith jumps on the sword of Guts, and he's hanging in balance with the sword of Guts. It's like, first of all, you cannot move your sword because your sword is heavy, and I'm on top of it, so this is the weight of the sword, and before you even start, I'll kill you. And this is super cool. This is really, really, really good. It's a really good fight. It's possibly the nicest fight since the beginning. Guts is getting trampled, dude. Griffith is doing some surface wound, but still doing a lot of wounds. Do you see that? Unbelievable. But you cannot swing. There you go. So he basically grabbed the sword and is there. Now, first chapter done. We still have 4 to do, and we're 26 minutes in. Schnitzel. Yeah, this website is shit because there's so many ads. And when I take too long, they'll tell me, hey, you have to verify that you're a human. So there you go. So, what is next? So there's more of the fights. And ultimately speaking, it's kind of cool because Gus arrived to strike Griffith. And this is the first time that somebody have strike Griffith. Now, the important part is they fell down the hill and they're both unharmed. So this is really important because brute strength, Guts is a lot stronger, and Guts possibly has some training. However, the way Guts is doing is he's just punching. Griffith will go in and will do like a karate pose and get him into a arm lock, right? And it's like, if you don't stop, I'll dislocate your shoulder. And Guts' answer is asshole, which is super cool. Basically, Guts wins like that because Griffith wins like that because Guts is fucked, right? And this is super cool because everybody is going around Guts to make fun of him. It's like, hey, you thought you could beat Griffin. And this is super cool because also the Band of Ock, they're like, oh my god, Griffith, I thought you were going to get killed. And some people are like, no, not Griffith. Nothing's going to ever happen to Griffith. He's too strong, right? So there you go. What else? Yeah. It's a really good scene. Griffith to tells Guts like, hey, you're mine now. That before. And it sucks because Casca is heartbroken. She said he never fought for me like that. He never looked at me like that, which is her admitting that he prefer her. Now this is super cool. Guts has a broken arm, right? He has a broken arm, and it's super fucking nice because, and this is, I gotta say, is possibly the nicest thing that happened in the so far in the Golden Age. So Guts is getting his arm crushed, and there's a bunch of people around this tent that are going to kill him. And the first thing that Guts does is he doesn't go to fight them. He gets to his sword. So if they come, he's gonna kill them, and if they don't come, he's not gonna kill them. So Casca's the one that saved him, right? And when Casca saved him, he says to Casca, thank you. Now this is complex because is he saying thank you because he likes Casca and he's thankful, or because he's like, okay, well, I've lost and now I have to be the Band of Ock. And this is kind of crazy because Griffith technically beat him, right? So the deal was, if I win, you're mine. If you win, you can kill me. Now, ultimately speaking, Guts doesn't have to respect that. Guts can just leave. Nobody's gonna stop him, right? But if he has honor, he's gonna do it. And somehow, I think Griffith knows that. So Guts is pissed off at Griffith. He's like, how could he defeat me? Oh, phone is too hot. Okay, it's only gonna be too hot soon too. 15%. To get over you, you heard all my yellow boy. This year was sick and close my eyes. Just a lonely man inside to get over you, 'cause it's you. Where are you there? Next scene. I'm sorry guys, I'm talking a lot, but it's just the best. This to me is so where did I stop in the manga? I stopped at the forest of the kids. By the way, I tell you where. If you've read the manga, you know exactly where I am. If you didn't, you don't know. Suffer. Yes. So basically, what happened is Guts is admitting that he has to be part of the member of the Ock. Now we have the first battle, right? And they have Guts, and like, okay, we'll follow him. So Guts, this is the mission I was talking about. Griffith is a champion. He leads them to a back door. He leads them through a lake. He leads them where their wind is too much. And their goal is to destroy every single rations. And because they destroy every single ration, they win. Right? Now this is where you learn the plan. So the plan was Griffith, enemy center. And this is nuts because people don't know if they can trust Guts yet. To do. That's the end of him. What? I don't remember that. Is that the fight where he saved Ricketts or not? Oh no! Okay, cool. So it's not the most interesting thing ever, but it's so cool. It's again the people that are trusting Griffith, and it's Gus that says, "Yo, this guy is really smart." For example, they're attacking, and Griffith gives end signal like move or stop. And Guts never saw that, so he realized that the reason that the Band of Orc are so good because of Griffith. And it just shows to establish how the Band of Orc works. And this is cool because we see the Band of Orc, how they work, just after Guts joined. So, again, there's a fight Guts does wonderful once of all. It's a shame because one of the only people that we see fighting is Gus. If we let, the night will be disgraced. Right, so they're doing a sneak attack. And it's kind of cool because all the time they're like, and it's just kind of cool because you get Guts that's super interested in how they're fighting, but you also see, and there's just one scene in the camp where there's knights and it's like, okay, well, there's a better mercenary, right? And it's not precise. Oh, I gotta say, the manga is kind of poorly drawn at some places, but like a scene like that is just beautiful. Just beautiful. So there you go. I think I have like one chapter left to do. This chapter. So the thing with Berserk, there's a lot of fighting. The chapters themselves are very long. My apologies. Holy. How far are we from the start? There you go. It's been a continuation of the sneak attack. And this is good because this is when Guts gets into play. So Guts gets into play because it's his turn to attack. So again, fighting. Some really well drawn scene, right? But nothing crazy is going on. What is that? Nice. This is so fucking cool. So, the guys, and this is really cool because this battle will be a sign of, yo, Guts is part of the team, and it's because of how strong he is that he's part of the team, right? I should have done that. It's gonna cost me a lot of batteries. And this I don't like. So yeah, so Guts is part of the team, and they're really like saying like, hey, this guy is very strong. Versus, okay, we understand why Griffith, and this is super cool because Griffith is so loved that even having somebody like Guts around is thanks to Griffith. So even if Guts is the one that's doing all the work, now I'm not saying that Griffith isn't fighting. Griffith is fighting because that's most of the job. And they're like, Griffith, another victory by Griffiths. Now, here's a really cool thing. Gus will go in and he's gonna do something stupid, right? So the original plan was for him and Casca to lead like places on the side to flank, right? And basically Gus didn't listen. Gus had cleared her from Griffith and he didn't listen. So everybody is rejoicing because they did their job, which was destroying this. And Griffith is like, hey, where is he, right? And right away, Griffith is the one that's gonna go in and try to get him. So Gus, because he doesn't listen to anybody, and because he's gonna be alone, he has a whole ass army against him. Griffith is the one that saved him, which is amazing. They kill Gus's horse, which means that no matter how strong he is, he doesn't have a chance. Griffith is the one that saved him. We have Pippin here, and we have another. I think it's Ketka, but I'm not sure. Griffith sacrifices crossbow, and this is super cool because he has a crossbow in his hand. He shot the crossbow away and save Guts. Now